so today's video is challenge number 3 for the Because We Can Readathon. So for those people that don't know what I'm talking about, I will link the announcement video as well as the YouTube channel for the readathon, as well as the 3 hosts in the description below. But briefly, Because We Can Readathon is a really fun readathon that has happened twice now, and this is the 3rd time. It is hosted by Kat from Stars and Embers, Jenna from Just a Little Bit Random, and Kat from Brews and Reviews. Like I said, all of their channels are linked in the description below. You should go and check them out. They are fantastic. So the Because We Can Readathon has prompts for reading challenges and also creative challenges, and this time around it is based on Disney. So today's challenge is Dalmatian Plantation. So quite simply, they want us to show 101 things. It can be anything. I've decided what I'm going to do today is show you 101 children's books. Now, I'm sure most of you know by now that I am both a primary school teacher and an early childhood educator. So I have managed to collect quite a lot of kids' books over the last 10 years that I've been doing this. In both of those roles, I have done a fair bit of relief work, which basically means that I tend to take along my own copies of books so that I don't have to worry whether or not I will be able to find that book if I'm doing a lesson surrounding that book or something like that. So yes, I have managed to amass quite a few books. So the majority of these books are kids' picture books. Some of them are chapter books. I didn't include middle grade because I do have a few of those as well. The reason being that I feel like middle grade are, although definitely geared towards younger children, they are geared towards readers who are established readers and who are enjoy reading, quite happy to read on their own. Whereas chapter books are kind of that in between picture books, learning to read, and middle grade. It's where they kind of go when they're not quite fully readers yet, fully independent readers yet. So that's what I'm going with today. I realise that as a booktube channel, this is not a particularly original choice of 101 things to show you. I could, of course, have gone with anything other than books, since as a booktuber you would expect that I would have books at the very least. However, because we don't very often talk about kids' books, certainly not anything below middle grade, I thought it would be fun to show you. Also, as a person who doesn't have children, it's somewhat surprising how many children's picture books I actually do own, but I'm using the excuse of being an educator and primary school teacher. So there you go. These are going to be in no particular order, and also I'm going to try and go quite fast through them, so I'm not going to tell you about the actual books any further than to say this is this book written by these people. I do every month on my channel do a kids picture book of the month video, so if you want more information about what individual books are about, then check out those videos. I will link the few that I have done in the description below, but they will be going up once a month around the middle of the month. So if you want to know what any of these books are actually about, or a bit more detail about them, how they would work for children, why they're great for learning and lessons and all of that sort of thing, that's where to go. Alright, so I'm going to start off with some board books. I will actually be doing a video specifically about board books, but board books are thick cardboard pages so that babies can look at them. So we have Row, Row, Row Your Boat by, well, it just says illustrated by Matt Shanks, and that is because this is adapted from the kids' song, nursery rhyme song, Row, Row, Row Your Boat. There's some really great illustrations in here, and it's just a really fun book to read with children. Then we have Where is the Green Sheep by Mem Fox and Judy Horrick. So Mem Fox is the author, Judy Horrick is the illustrator. I did do a video about Mem Fox as an author in my last kids picture book of the month. But yeah, if you want more information about what this is about and why I think this is such a great kids picture book, that info isn't there. And then we have Baby Loves Coding. So this is all about how different activities that children do in their everyday lives can actually relate to coding. Play is how young children learn. Written by Ruth Shapiro and illustrated by Irene Chan. And then we have Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is a really cute one about behavioural issues, and yeah, it's just really fun and really cute. And of course, it is Tyrannosaurus Rex, as in he ruins things, as opposed to obviously Rex, as in the king, by Sudipta Barden Quallen and illustrated by Zachariah O'Hora. So those are the board books, and now I'm going to do some other picture books. I'm going to leave my chapter books until the end. So next up is There's a Sea in My Bedroom by Margaret Wilde, illustrated by Jane Tanner. This was a favourite picture book of mine when I was a child, which is why I had to track it down, and the kids I've read it to have just loved it. So I highly recommend this. It's an amazing book with some beautiful illustrations. Alright, next up we have A Dark, Dark Tale by Ruth Brown. Look at that cat. Now I have a bunch of the little golden books. These have been around for years and years and years, and they're always really, really fun. The first one I have to show you was, again, one of my favourites when I was a kid, and my younger sister absolutely loved it as well, and she used to always want me to read it to her, even though I'm 2 years older than her. But yeah, so that is The Monster at the End of This Book, starring lovable furry old Grover. It's just super fun and silly and fun and funny, and I have always really enjoyed this book, so that one. And then, because of course this one was before Elmo was introduced to Sesame Street, we have another monster at the end of this book, starring lovable furry old Grover and equal lovable furry little Elmo. Then we have Raggedy Ann and the Cookie Snatcher, another book that I had when I was a child. None of these are actually books from my childhood. They are books that I have purchased. My family moved around far too much for us to keep a lot of books. So anyway, yeah, so this is one of my favourites from when I was a kid. Another favourite from when I was a kid was Toodle, which is all about a very, very cute little train. Scuffy the Tugboat. Actually don't remember a lot about the story, but I know that I really, really enjoyed this one. The Saggy Baggy Elephant. This was such a cute, sweet little book, and it was all about acceptance, accepting yourself for who you are and accepting what you look like, but also others accepting you as well. So definitely a fantastic book. So that was my little golden books. Let's keep going though, because we have Woof Woof It's Boof, written by Patricia Dixon and illustrated by Peter Hanbury. Then we have Sebastian Lives in a Hat by Thelma Catterwell and Kerry Argent. I think this is my one and only Mr. Men book, Mr. Quiet. Okay, so we're moving on to a collection of books that I have bought specifically because they are written by and about Aboriginal people. So we have Willow, a Birrarung story by Auntie Jo Murphy and Andrew Kelly, with illustrations by Lisa Kennedy, and this is just adorable. These illustrations are amazing. It's all about country and the importance of the land and country. Absolutely incredible. And then we have a book that's called Welcome to Country that is specifically about country, Auntie Jo Murphy and Lisa Kennedy again. So then we have Young Dark Emu, A Truer History by Bruce Pascoe. So Bruce Pascoe wrote Dark Emu, which is a more truthful history of Indigenous relations with white people. And then he wrote a young one, Young Dark Emu. So this is specifically aimed at young children. Okay. So some of these I've actually shown you guys before in my Aaron Blaby Kids Book of the Month, which again is linked below. I'll quickly go through those, but we have Pearl, Barley and Charlie Parsley, Don't Call Me Bear, this box set which includes Pig the Pug, Pig the Fibber and Pig the Elf, Pig the Winner, Pig the Star, Pig the Grub, Pig the Tourist, Pig the Blob. Then we also have by Aaron Blaby, Thelma the Unicorn, Piranhas Don't Eat Bananas, and Busting. Then I have Who Sank the Boat by Pamela Allen. So this is a book, it's kind of about displacement really. It's really, really fun and explores that concept in a really cute way. Then I have Harry McClary from Donaldson's Dairy by Lindley Dodd. Lots of repetition, lots of fun, great illustrations, just an all-round fantastic book for kids. Alright, so now I have a book which I actually find quite strange, but all the children that I have read this book or that I've shown on the SAG After Foundation Storyline Online, which I'll link in the description below as well. It's a great resource, has loads and loads of different books read aloud by various actors. And that is Arnie the Donut, cooked up by Laurie Keller. The next two are actually more reference style books. One of them I bought specifically for a unit of work that I was doing with a kindergarten class that I was teaching a few years ago, and that is Romans, Warriors, Age of Conquerors. So it's got all sorts of information about the Roman Empire, Roman society, great illustrations, and yeah, just something really fun for kids to look at and get some information about history. Another more sort of reference book is Osborne Illustrated Stories from the Greek Myths. I do have another book very similar, which is Mythology, the Stuff of Legends, created by Basher, written by Mary Budzik. Unfortunately, the reason I own this one is a little bit of a disappointment. I ordered through the Scholastic Book Club at a school that I was working at, Jean from Jean's Thoughts recent publication, which I think is called Greek Myths. Unfortunately, they were out of stock, and so they gave me this instead. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with this book, but I was hoping to get Jean's book, which I think looks actually quite significantly better. I will still buy that at some point. I just haven't quite got there yet. Another board book which got kind of lost in the bunch, but that is Guess How Much I Love You by Sam McBratney and illustrated by Anita Jerram. Moving on to Banjo and Ruby Red by Libby Gleason and Freya Blackwood. Animal Friendships, Unlikely Animal Friendships, lots of fun. It is a book about a triangle. Quite cute. Not really sure what the point of it is, to be perfectly honest, but it's quite cute and fun. Do Not Lick This Book by Eden Ben Barrack and Julian Frost. This is actually all about the microscopic world and germs and what goes on in, in something that we can't see, even though it's because it's microscopic, but there's worlds within worlds. So with lovely pictures like this one. I just think it's really interesting and a perspective that children wouldn't really know much about necessarily, so really great book. Then we have this one here, which is so funny to me. Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo, written by Marlon Bundo with Jill Twiss and illustrated by E.J. Keller. So the reason why this book is so funny to me is because the story behind this is that it was created by the team at Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, which is an American comedic news program, which is one of my favourite programs to watch. Basically, the idea is to kind of poke fun at Mike Pence, because Mike Pence has a rabbit called Marlon Bundo, and he was creating this kid's picture book about the life of Marlon Bundo. But Mike Pence is very right-wing, very conservative, not a very nice guy, quite racist and homophobic and sexist. So John Oliver was like, well, no, I don't think that this guy should be writing books for kids about his amazing named rabbit Marlon Bundo. So he wrote, he commissioned other people to write this story about Marlon Bundo and the day that he met his partner and their beautiful male romance. This book is actually fantastic. It was made as a joke, but it's actually really, really great. Then we have Paddington by Michael Bond, part of the Classic Collection. Now, I've spoken about the next few in a recent video as well, which is also linked below. It was a video about Mem Fox as an author of children's picture books. So we have Possum Magic, Harriet You'll Drive Me Wild, Tough Boris, Wilfred Gordon MacDonald Partridge. Alright, and now we have I Am a Cat. So this is about how we can all be very different, but we can all be the same and belong to the same family. It's really cute. I love it. Kids love it. Definitely highly recommend. I mean, I recommend all of these books. And then we have The Bad Seed by Jory John, illustrated by Pete Oswald, all about a bad seed and whether he's really that bad. Another lot of books that are part of a collection that I am slowly buying. There are loads, but they're really, really cool. And it is these Little People Big Dreams collection. And this one is about Jane Austen. It was written by Ma Isabel Sanchez Vergara, illustrated by Katie Wilson. Then we have Alan Turing, written by the same person, Maria Isabella Sanchez Vergara, illustrated by Ashley Lindsay. David Bowie, written by the same person and illustrated by Anna Albera. Audrey Hepburn, written by the same person again and illustrated by Amaya Arazola. And finally, Malala Yousafzai, written by the same person again and illustrated by Manal Mirza. The next two books I'm actually going to show you together because they go together, they're in a series, and they are The Water Tower and Beneath the Surface by Gary Crew and illustrated by Stephen Woolham. These are fantastic books for older grades. They make great lessons as well. Definitely recommend. They are creepy, they are weird, they are great. So now I have an alphabet book, but this is a bit of a different one. This is M is for Metal, written by Paul McNeil and Barry DeVola, and it says the loudest alphabet book on earth. So instead of your traditional A is for Apple and so on, it goes through and shows you something to do with heavy metal. So we have A is for Angus, whose riffs are hit. He's a grown man in a schoolboy outfit. F is for feedback, the buzz in your ears. Let's hope we're not deaf in a couple of years. K is for kiss, with makeup that runs. Jen is the one with the longest of tongues. So it's just a really fun sort of twist on the alphabet book, which I think is just brilliant. Then we have a book that you have no doubt heard of because it's extremely, extremely well known, and that is The Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. This book is called Migrants by Issa Watanabe. It is amazing. It is very different. It is mostly, in fact, entirely just illustrations, and it's all about the experience of migrants and refugees. And it's just incredibly powerful, incredibly beautiful, but yeah, like I said, there's no words, it's all illustration, which I think is just like a picture paints 1,000 words. You can learn so much from images. I definitely recommend. Beautiful, beautiful book. Then we have Penguin Problems by Jory John and Lane Smith. This is all about a little penguin who has so many problems. Really fun. Then we have Marlou the Kangaroo by Judith Moorcroft and Bronwyn Bancroft. This is a retelling of an Aboriginal dreaming story. I Wish I Had a Pirate Suit by Pamela Allen. Pretty much does what it says on the tin. Another book by Mem Fox, which I didn't include in my video about Mem Fox. Oops. Whoever You Are by Mem Fox, illustrated by Leslie Staub. All about acceptance and yeah, that sort of thing. Another two books in a series, which I don't have all of by any means, but I'm definitely planning on getting them. Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Words and Pictures by Mo Willems. Very cheeky pigeon who wants to drive the bus, but is not allowed to. The Pigeon Has to Go to School. All about the new experiences the pigeon has to go through to go to school. Definitely recommend for if your child is starting school and is nervous about it. Next up we have Olga the Brolga by Rod Clement. This book is a little battered. I've used this in so many lessons. It's definitely an old favourite of mine for lesson planning. And then we have To the Top End, A Trip Across Australia by Roland Harvey. It is written quite differently. The text kind of follows the pictures around and it's all about going to the top end of Australia. Then we have another one by Roland Harvey, which is At the Beach. Postcards from Krabby Spit. So this is all postcards from different of the kids going to their family holiday. The Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson and Axel Schaefer. Simpsons and His Donkey by Mark Greenwood and Frane Lassac. This is about Simpson and his donkey from the First World War. Great book for lessons as well. We're Going on a Bear Hunt by Michael Rosen and Helen Oxenbury. Really, really, really great fun. If you can get the CD of this one, which there are, I don't happen to have, but you can definitely get it. Or you can probably find it on YouTube, I'm not sure, but I will look and put it in the description below. But yeah, really great fun for movement and dance. Really great. Edward the Emu by Sheena Knowles, illustrated by Rod Clement. Joey the Roo by Marion and Steve Isham. Very, very cute. Very good for lesson planning. Lots of stuff in here for observation. The Cow Tripped Over the Moon. So this is a retelling of The Cow Flew Over the Moon, written by Tony Wilson and Laura Wood. Lots of fun as well. The Great Paper Caper by Oliver Jeffers. Another one where there's a lot of information in the pictures and a lot of the story gets told through the images, so definitely worth for thinking about different aspects of text and the different ways that books give information. The Wonky Donkey by Craig Smith, illustrated by Katz Cowley. This is another one that you can find on YouTube. They've written a song about it, animated it. It's really fun. Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andrea and Guy Parker Rees. All about finding your groove, finding how you fit in and not giving up. My Cat Likes to Hide in Boxes by Eve Sutton and illustrated by Linley Dodd. There is no dragon in this story by Lou Carter and Deborah Allwright. My Place by Nadia Wheatley and Donna Rawlins. Each page has the history of a particular townhouse or a particular area in Sydney, and it actually goes backwards in time, so it starts in 1988 and goes all the way through to 1788. So yeah, it's really interesting, really great for history and learning about history and our place and how things change, and yeah, great book. The Day the Crayons Quit by Oliver Jeffers. Really great book as well. Alright, now we're getting into the more sort of chapter books. A lot of these are actually Enid Blyton's. So we have My Nut, I Think, and Pins and Needles. Then we have a chapter book about Malala, My Story of Standing Up for Girls' Rights, similar with the previous book. It's about Malala Yousafzai. Black Cockatoo by Carl Merrison and Hakia Hustler, another Aboriginal book. Ginty, Desert Child by Pat Lowe and Jimmy Pike, so again another book about Australian Aboriginal culture and society. Worrywarts by Maurice Gleesman. The Adventures of Pip by Enid Blyton. Tales of Long Ago, retold by Enid Blyton. The Wishing Chair Again by Enid Blyton. The Enchanted Wood by Enid Blyton. Bug of the Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton. The Magic Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton. The Naughtiest Girl in School by Enid Blyton. Mr. Meddle's Mischief, Enid Blyton. Merry Mr. Meddle, Enid Blyton. The Enchanted Wood, Enid Blyton. We've got 2 copies of Mr. Muddles by Enid Blyton. 3 actually. Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. James and the Giant Peach, which is falling apart, by Roald Dahl. The Story of the Tiger Pig, which is by John Ryan. And Noddy at the Seaside, also by Enid Blyton. So, I did not count those books as I was showing them to you. I very much hope that there's 101 books there, but yes, there's a lot, as you can see. Anyway, guys, that is my Dalmatian Plantation challenge for the Because We Can Readathon. Are you doing this challenge yourself? If you are, let me know in the comments below what your 101 things are. Please link me to a video or blog post or Instagram story or whatever it might be that you are doing for this creative challenge. Also comment below and let me know what you think of my choice of 101 things. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.